welcome to RiverCity-Media's special Christmas edition of our wrestling show. Tonight, we are blessed to have a special guest. Let's just bring him in. Ty Rose, what's going on, buddy?
How you doing, man? Y'all doing all right?
Doing good. Ty, I did want to bring something up early on, and we lost a great in the world of professional wrestling from Bakewell, Tennessee, a local boy, former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Jax Dane, today. I know your dad knew him better than you did, but Jax is a guy that came from the Chattanooga area that went to the height of the NWA, being NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Do you have any stories of hearing your dad and him talk?
I don't. I posted it today on Facebook on my personal page. I never said. I guess never got a chance to say anything more than tell hey, how you doing, kind of thing to him. And I mainly just sat there and listened to him and Dad talk and shoot the bull. But man, I was so mesmerized by how just huge he was and just his aura. And he was a star. Bottom line. But man, I was lucky enough to meet him, shake hands with him, and just listen to him talk and listen to how he carried himself and how he paid attention to. Man, if you read all the posts talking about him, he helped all the younger guys, and I was not wrestling during the time that I met him. But man, all the guys that were in the back, man, I firsthand witness of him being there, giving them advice, giving them pointers on how to be better, and man, nothing but respect for Jax Dane, man, and it's super unfortunate to hear it, but prayers for him and his family. So.
Absolutely. Joining me tonight, of course, below me is JJ, a resident Alabama fan, even though he wore that shirt, didn't need to. And over to Rob, our resident Atlanta Falcons fan and resident Georgia Tech fan, Howie Chaney. I'll kick it off first. And you talked about in that little discussion of Jack, you talked about backstage. How hard has it been being new to the world of pro wrestling, getting used to the backstage environment? Well, there's a lot of learning goes on.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot like I always say this. The music business and professional wrestling so far, in my experiences, have been pretty similar. But man, as far as being a new guy and in the locker room with guys, man, just be respectful and just shut up and listen and always I guess just pay attention when guys like Dad or all these guys who have been around, been there, and done that. These veterans. Just shut up and listen and pay attention. You know what I mean? And so it's been fun so far.
That's awesome. Well, we'll go off our panel here. JJ, we'll start with you.
Well, I just want to ask you. This is not where I intended to start, but I see that photo that you have in the background there, and I saw this week you posted when that was a gift, right? A Christmas gift. Tell me what that meant to you to number one, to lock up for the first time, and then also what that gift in and of itself meant to you.
Man, it means everything to me. When I was training, me and my dad were always riding down the road, kind of fantasizing, who I'd have my first match with, where I'd have it, and all that, and we were just kind of, this would be cool, and this would be cool, whatever. But we landed at a place in McDonald, Tennessee, and one of our dear friends, Casey Cage, he was kind enough, man, to give me my first match, and it was fun. We beat the heck out of each other, but that picture right there is my very first lockup and my very first match. And I don't know if you can see it, but if you could, I'll post it on the wrestling page, Ty Rose Wrestling on Facebook. But my dad's ringside looking at us, from ringside. Yeah. So that's pretty cool, man. It meant everything to me.
Yeah, when I saw it, I was like, man, that's just a freaking cool picture and a great gift to have a memory like that too. I didn't really even notice until you brought that up that your dad was in the background. That makes it even better for sure.
Yeah, we got pictures all over the house of Dad and wrestling too, of Dad and Tojo, Jackie Fargo over here, him out in front of the Midnight Express right behind me. And so it's really cool to kind of add a picture of myself and my dad in a wrestling setting.
No doubt. Yeah.
So,
no doubt.
Cool stuff, man.
Uh-oh, we lost Howie.
No, he's on mute.
He muted himself.
Yeah, I was coughing, didn't want to interrupt anything. Ty, let's go back to you. You keep on speaking about your dad. Let everybody know about your dad. Your dad is the world famous Pat Rose. It's hard, and you kind of snicker, but the podcasts that I listen to, wrestling podcasts, just about every one of them mentions him at least once an episode or once every month about one of the solid wrestlers out there during his time. So, what does it mean having him as a mentor for you?
Man, it's a huge asset. It's a huge blessing, man. I'm very, very, grateful to have the guidance that I do. My father and Casey Case trained me. My dad is my primary trainer, and he tells me what if this is the right way, go that way. So. But man, it means everything to me. And he had a book, From the Ring to the Real, the Pat Rose story. I'm not sure if we have any copies left because they all sold out, man. But that's the coolest part. They all sold out, and people. I've always been one to be really eager to share my dad's story, and he's kind of the one that's humble and understands, what he's done, doesn't need to really prove himself to anybody. But we finally nailed this book down, and he's got a lot of really, really cool stories, and man, he's just been everywhere and done everything that he could really do in professional wrestling, and so it was really cool to see the love from everybody and delivering books left and right, selling them left and right. Man, it was just really cool because I know how much it means to him, and it means even more to me knowing that that's my dad. So
Yeah.
Will there be another printing? Do you know if there's another printing coming at some point of the book?
If y'all watching, if y'all want another order of From the Ring to the Real, the Pat Rose story books, comment, do something, let us know. But man, there's tons of stories. There's words from Ricky Morton. There's words from Dr. Tom Pritchard, Jake Roberts, everybody that you can think of, all the who's who in professional wrestling. So,
Jeremy, do you have a question?
Yeah, so Ty, I usually ask this to everybody, and I know obviously we've already talked about it. I know your dad's an inspiration to you, but as a young man, child, even professional wrestling, who else influenced you in professional wrestling, and maybe made you think, hey, you know what, I really like to do that. Dad did it, and he was successful. Who else was an influence to you?
man, I'm glad that you brought this up, man, because there's two guys that really have that I try to base myself after is obviously my father and Terry Bam Bam Gordy. When I walk out and I have the yellow boots with the heart on them, or I have the Tyros Honky Tonky, those aren't just boots and a jacket. Those boots symbolize something that's very important. Those boots are the same boots that my father stepped in the ring with Ric Flair with. He was wearing those. He was wearing those boots when he wrestled Bruno Sammartino Jr., David Sammartino. So that thing, those are not just boots. Those are a representation of my lineage and the legacy that comes with the Rose name. And same with the jacket. But man, Terry, the way I take my right hand, man, it's just like Terry Gordy. I try to keep their memory alive. Tojo, Wrestling 2. I try to keep their memory alive and the best I can. I'm not near the wrestler as they were, and I hope to be one day, at least halfway. But my goal is just to bring those guys with me every time I go to the ring and keep their memory alive, man.
Yeah, I think your dad shared a post. I follow him, and it was him. I can't remember, but I my first memory of wrestling as a child was Chattanooga area wrestling, WDEF studio. Tojo, your dad, that's my first memories of wrestling as a kid, tuning in on Channel 12 and watching wrestling. So I think it's so cool that you get to wear those boots and Terry, and you've got the biggest Terry Bam Bam Gordy fan there is up here, top left to me, but Randall, but Chattanooga legend for sure, Terry Bam Bam Gordy.
Absolutely. My dad made a post, and I'll add, I'll reiterate it. I'm not going to say it verbatim because I don't remember, but it was a roundabout way of saying, Terry Gordy is the number one guy to come from Chattanooga when it comes to professional wrestling. He represents Chattanooga, Tennessee when it comes to professional wrestling. it's crazy that I'm 19 years old, and like I said, I had my first match not that long ago, and my father was also 19 years old. He had his first match. So, man, there's a lot of full circle moments coming around, and it's crazy. They happen every day. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I just want to say that Terry Bam Bam Gordy is Chattanooga Wrestling, and that's who represents Chattanooga.
And we've had this talk before. I think facially, Ty resembles Terry Gordy to a T, especially, sometimes when he's just walking, I look at him and I see, how can somebody not related look that much like Terry Gordy? So
You get that curly mop going, you definitely would.
I know. I mess with my mom all the time. I'm like, Mom, and I show her a picture of Terry, and she's like, "Shut up, Gator." So it's funny. I think it's the nose, man. My family on the mother's side have really strong features, and so we all look the same. My girlfriend and I, we went to Thanksgiving, and it was her first time really kind of getting to spend a lot of time with people. She was there last year, but this was her first, like I said, time to get to spend. And she was like, "You guys look just alike. Your eyes, your nose, And I'm like, gee, Lord, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's all good. I can smell pretty good, so don't worry about that.
a comment, I'd like to put a comment in here, and maybe it's not a question, but just a comment. Faced David Martino in the last Battle of Atlanta, first match that ended one of the most legendary feuds in the history of Atlanta wrestling, and Tommy Rich and Buzz Sawyer in the last Battle of Atlanta. Your dad opened that night with David San Martino.
Yep. Man, that's one of my favorite matches, man. I feel like everything. I always say that my father's time in Memphis was my favorite era of his work. All of it was great. But man, that match right there, everything was there. His work, his body, his look, everything was there. And man, it was just that right there is that's a true example, I feel like, of who Pat Rose was, in the professional wrestling ring. And man, what an honor, man. The Omni is was the Madison Square Garden of the South, as they say. And man, I wish I could even have seen a concert in that building, man. It's I got a T-shirt that I wore when I was a little boy. There's a video of Dad being inducted into Hall of Fame, and I was wearing the shirt. And I really didn't understand what it meant, just last Battle of Atlanta, cool. I've been to Atlanta a couple times, right? But now that I grow up, man, it just it again comes to the weight and the kind of legacy that Rose name has, man. He was a part of that show, and nobody can ever take that away from him, And so,
Right.
being starting this new journey in professional wrestling, being able to be a Rose is a big honor, and it's really a big deal. And I take it to heart pretty good. So,
was there ever a time in your decision to do this that you thought about your father's legacy and how it's a help, but it's also something that you need to live up to? Was there ever a time that you thought, if I do this and I use the Rose name, I have a legacy and I have a story behind it?
Yeah, absolutely. I always thought if I tried to add anything to it, I would be taken away from it. But my dad and I has and as a caring father, right? He's always tried to steer me away from professional wrestling, and just because there's a lot of hardships that come with it. But he had a conversation with some guys, and him and I were just talking, and it's kind of like, man, he got to live his life, and now it's my turn to live mine. So he's getting to live his life. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So at first I thought, man, I'd be taken away from it, but now I feel like it. I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, I'll give me a few years and I'll answer that question for you.
You're really an old school heart. I mean, you're a old soul, and it's an old school mentality in a new business. Do you think that's refreshing? It is to me, to meet somebody that takes it serious. You compete, you go out, you're there to win. It's definitely what I like to refer to as the territory attitude.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any such thing as a territory attitude or an old school mentality, man. I just know how I've been brought up and how to handle myself and how to take care of business. You know what I mean? And And I've always applied that to music. I've applied it to school. I've applied it to pretty much everything in life. It just so happens I get to apply it to professional wrestling. So that's just the way I look at it, man. I don't really put too much thought into, who's new and who's old and all that. I really do feel like, old school professional wrestling was just a different breed of stuff. And I feel like it's where professional wrestling was at its best, that generation. The Ric Flairs, the Dusty Roses, the Harley Races, that was the best. But yeah, man, I just try to do my thing, and I just, like I said, I've been brought up, to handle business a certain way, and that's how I do it. So
That's awesome. Jeremy, I'll let you and Harry go for a while. I could sit here and ask Ty 6 questions and never repeat the same question.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Mostly it would revolve around what you think about the Young Bucks, but that's a whole other story when it comes to
Pretty line of questions. So go ahead.
Hey, so Ty, tell me, your decision, or when you came to the decision, hey, I want to do this, and you started training. How tough was the training when you started?
In December of last year, our good friend Joe Kazana of Joe Kazana Promotions, his, almost 100-year legacy when it comes to promoting and wrestling in that East Tennessee area, Knoxville area, and the NWA, which is owned by the Smashing Pumpkins frontman William Patrick Corgan and Billy Corgan, he's bringing back the territories, the NWA is, and so Joe Kazana, NWA JCP is now what it's called. We were there for their kind of announcement that the NWA and Joe Kazana Promotions were partnering as a territory, and I got to meet Billy Corgan and all that. But man, just seeing all the NWA guys and just seeing how cool they were, and seeing how Randall, to go back to what you said, seeing how it was new, right? It's a newer generation. It's obviously guys that are of a newer generation, right? But it still had that. It's NW freaking A. You get what I'm saying? And that was the show that made me, particularly the Southern Six, which is Thrillbilly Silas Mason, Alex Taylor, and Kerry Morton, and versus the Country Gentlemen, which is AJ and KC Kazana, and they tagged with Trevor Murdoch, and they all three wrestled each other as a three, I guess 3-on-3, and man, that match right there really stood out to me, and I was just like, man, I might can do this. I don't know, but man, we just like I said, Casey Cage was nice enough to work out with me, man, and Dad would give me pointers, and like I said, I will always listen to my father when it comes to professional wrestling, and that's just how it's going to be, and that's how it's always been. So having him kind of be there and having him kind of make that call as to, all right, you're ready. That's kind of what you work for. That's feel like for the past however long I've been training, that's kind of what I work for. And here we are, and we're pretty new into it, and but it's fun. I love it.
Ty, being new into it and everything, having 5 matches already, do you record your matches and go back and kind of self scout yourself for your opponents?
I do. There's a place up in McDonald, like I said, C1W, man, and I love them so much for giving me an opportunity to kind of learn and get experience, and that's where I've had my first match with Casey up here. But yeah, every time, man, it's kind of funny. It's just like how it was with music, and I'll say something here after I say this, but every time, oh man, I should have done that. Or you'll send something to somebody. I sent my matches to the current NWA Mid-America, champion, Jeremiah Plunkett. He gave me tons of really, really solid advice, man, and nothing but love and respect to Jeremiah Plunkett. But he gave me a lot of good advice, and I try to apply it to the next. Or here's this, you know what I mean? Just kind of, man, getting better every time. And yeah, so that's kind of what's fun. And man, here's the deal. With training, and this is kind of the mentality that I have with music. I'm not, qualified to train in wrestling, but train somebody in wrestling. But with music, and this is kind of how I went around training. You got to learn the basics, right? But how Pat Rose became Pat Rose is because he did it, not because he showed up at a certain time every week and wrestled two of his trainers and they thought it was cool. He did it. He went out and did it. Same thing with me in music. I was a 14-year-old little kid who barely knew how to sing and play guitar. But you know how I got to the point where I could open up for a Shenandoah? I went out and I did it. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of my thing, you know. You just got to learn the basics and do it. So, man, that's kind of what we're doing right now is getting that hands-on experience and applying what I use, man. But that's my deal. You just got to learn the basics and do it, and then you'll get better from there, you know.
So go ahead, Howie. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to ask, for every match that you have, do you break out something new for every match?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, kind of. I mean, you know, it's at this point right now, you know, I'm just listening, you know, just shut up and listen, you know. But it's fun stuff. Yeah, we did a little. My favorite thing to do is a power slam, man. I love doing a power slam, giving somebody a power slam. It's fun. That's a tribute to Buzz Sawyer right there. And I've been trying to perfect my punch, man. Terry Gordy and Bob Cook had, in my opinion, those two guys had some of the greatest punches in professional wrestling. So did a lot of damage. So I'm trying to, you know, I guess perfect that technique and do the same amount of damage. You know what I mean? So don't want to get punched by those guys is what I'm saying. So
Go ahead, Jeremy.
A little.
No, you brought it up about just doing it, and you know, you getting opportunities to do that. And I, you know, for me, I was just thinking, I feel like a lot of guys, there's a lot of talent out there. There's super talented, athletic people, and they put them on TV right away, and they don't know psychology. They don't know how to work a crowd. They don't know how to, you know, how to perform when, you know, there's 100 people or 50 people or whatever, but they don't have a feel. And in my mind, and that's with stuff I've done, you just got to do it. At the end of the day, you do your best to prepare, and then you just got to go do it. Let it fall. Let the chips fall where they may. But in my mind, do you think that it's that important to learn be in front of live crowds, not on TV, but in front of live crowds, local crowds, learn how to work that crowd, learn how to respond and how to adjust based on that crowd? Do you feel like that? I know that's old school probably thinking, but it's got to be super important for you and for anybody getting started, right?
yeah, well, if they boo, it sucks. Don't do it. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's it. That's it.
Yeah. So
Hey, just a little spoiler. I mentioned it. Coming to RiverCity-Media is interview set with the Kazanas. So we'll have the Kazanas here from JCP in January. So that's a big get for RiverCity-Media. Thanks to our boy Joseph Hughes, the Rabbit Beaver. He's helping me set that up. But Ty, you brought the Kazanas up, so I'm going to ask you, locally, there's a great indie scene. I love Silas Mason. You've already brought him up. You know, he's born of that Terry Gordy mentality.
yeah.
You know, Mr. Evan Golden is someone that I love on here. And of course, you know, there's some people, different promotions all around. Who of the local scene would you like to work with? Not that you would like to get in a ring with.
I don't know, man. You know, there's he's not really local. He's down in Florida, but there's a guy named Brian Brock, Buckshot Brian Brock, man. I'd love to lock horns with him, man. Another big boy, and another one of those old school kind of guys, you know what I mean? And a lot of respect for Brian Brock, but hopefully one day getting the chance to lock horns with him. And Jeremiah Plunkett, again, kind of. I mean, you know, I don't know if he's indie guy, right? I don't know. What does that mean, right? But I would love to get to lock horns with him, man. But those are my two main dudes. Those are my two main dudes, man. I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty much my answer right there.
Hey, so I don't know. I'm just gonna throw this in there. I'd love that he brought up Evan Golden. I'd love to see you crush that skinny punk Evan Golden at some point, and him
Man,
and
I
his
don't
fake
know.
title belts. You
I
know,
think it's
I'm just saying.
I think it's the blonde hair because I've tried to like him. Come on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's a dime store Bret Hart. So what somebody said. I
Well,
think
I don't
Joseph
know,
Smith said
man. I
that.
think everybody's just jealous we can't have hair like him, man. So I don't know.
You got
JJ could refer to that as Mr. Golden. I appreciate it here on out.
Mr. God. No, ain't no Mr. for me.
Ty, what promotions are you currently working in? I know you're working in different promotions.
Yeah, man. We've got a few dates lined up. Like I said, this Saturday actually I'll be C1W again. It's in McDonald, Tennessee, Championship One Wrestling. Great place, man. Thanks to them so much for giving me an opportunity to, on a weekly basis, get to learn and hone my craft each and every week with different opponents, different styles of opponents, big dudes, little dudes, and everybody in between. But man, I just we just I'm kind of feeling sour about it right now. But here in January the 11th, we're gonna be with Paul Lee, and it sucks because Lex Lee, which is Paul's son, he wrestled at my birthday party when we had it over there at the 08 AWF arena, and for him and for me to grow up and wrestle, and for him to have the our families to have the connection together, for him to do what he did, man, it just kind of pisses me off a little bit, But I'm just gonna, I don't know, man. It just kind of sucks, But AWF right now, January the 11th, and then the 21st, we'll be in Georgia Championship Wrestling, which is a huge deal. Georgia Championship Wrestling is a lot of history there, man. Mr. Wrestling 2, Tommy Rich, Pat Rose. A lot of guys wrestled at, for Georgia Championship Wrestling. And so to get that honor to wrestle under those three letters, man, GCW, that's a big deal.
Howie, do you have a follow-up to the Lex question or anything to follow up there?
I'm just in the comment on here where Joseph is saying challenge Goldilocks in a hair versus hair match, Ty.
I don't know, man. If I went bald, I would look like a thumb. Y'all don't want that. All right? Y'all don't want that.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that.
Well, Ty, I have a piece of video, and I hope it plays from the AWF arena that kind of explains a little bit. Well, we'll at least give it a shot. If it doesn't play, we'll come back and talk to you about it. But I did want to play this video and get your comments about it.
Hey, man. Get a little better match now.
Hey, thanks, Aaron. Big.
And the video is dragging, but soon after this, Lex Lee attacks you in the locker room after.
Yeah. You can stop right there. Yeah, Lex Lee attacked me in the locker room. Only thing that I was trying to do is give the fine people of Lafayette, Georgia, a good Christmas. You understand that? There's a lot of people in Lafayette that may not have a good Christmas, right? And the only thing they can do as a family to come and watch professional wrestling. And who do they want to see? They want to see Santa Claus. So of course, I come and I dress as Santa Claus because why not? I fit the bill. Big guy, lovable, handsome, right? And we go out and we have a match, and whatever happened, and Lex couldn't control himself like usual, and he feels the need to attack me. So I won, right? So that makes me number one contender for his belt, the AWF Heavyweight Championship. So we'll find out January the 11th. Lex, if you're watching this, I want you to understand that I'm coming, and I'm coming with guns blazing. You understand that? You understand that? If you don't, you better get to listening, and you better get to understand it. Because come January 11th, it's not going to be no Santa Claus in the ring. It's going to be Ty Rose. It's going to be my dad. And that security guard of yours, I don't even know what that is. no use in bringing him out, man, because you done pissed us off, and now you're gonna pay come January 11th.
Does the history between the Rose and Lee family, do you think that there could be some jealousy there in Lex's eyes or something?
Jealousy? He's freaking Lex Lee. I have 5 matches. What is he jealous of? You know what I mean? I mean, you know, our Paul and my dad came up together. You know, they were the new fabulous Fargos. Paul was Jackie Jr., Dad was Don Jr., right? They were partners, right? Lex is a second-generation wrestler, and so am I. What does that mean? That means we should be partners, but no. Lex is all about himself, and he's all about, hey, I want to be the champion. You know what? It's not even that big of a deal. Bottom line is, Lex is a backstabber, and he obviously hates Christmas, which sucks. But it's okay, because January 11th, like I just said, I'm coming with a chip on my shoulder. Man, you got my heart racing, dude.
Let's go. Let's go.
Hey, January 11th. Go ahead and tell us where it's going to be at.
January 11th, the Lafayette Recreational Center in Lafayette, Georgia. AWF Saturday Night Slam. Man, besides that situation, let me just, man, look at this. Yep.
Yeah. Come on, let's go.
So besides that little situation, man, there's going to be a lot of great wrestlers there, man. And man, AWF's where it's at. 35 years of 35 years of tail kicking when it comes to the local scene in professional wrestling. And I got a lot of love for Paul, but not so much love for Lex. So I'm going to teach him a little tough love to come January 11th at the Recreational Center in Lafayette, Georgia.
Jeremy, I'm going to let you have the next question.
I'm fired up, man. He's got me fired up. I'm ready to see somebody.
Yeah, Randy, go ahead and give somebody else a question since you done pissed them off.
I didn't understand this side of him. Y'all go ahead.
I'm ready. I'm ready to see if I'm ready for Lex to go down, buddy. Yeah. Wow. I got fired up too. So I don't know. You know, we're ending the year here, and you know, everybody at some point, even if it's just a thought, has, you know, New Year's resolution, goal. Maybe what have you set any goals for yourself? You said you just got started off to a great start. Have you set some goals for yourself for next year as far as in the wrestling business and what you want to accomplish?
Yes, sir. I one of my biggest goals is to wrestle for NWA JCP. Wrestling under those 3 letters, man, NWA, you know, like I said, it would be such a huge honor, and it would just mean the world, man, because especially with the history of Kazana, you know, with John Kazana promoting back way in the heyday of professional wrestling, and now, you know, the universe has come together once again. Now Joe, his grandson, I believe it is, I believe that's his grandson, is promoting. And, man, the NWA just holds a very special place in my heart, my father's heart. And he said this, and I hope one day I can earn it to where I can say this, but my father says all the time that he is NWA all the way. And I hope one day that I can say, you know, rightfully with it being earned, that I am NWA all the way. You know what I mean? But yeah, so that's one of my big goals is to wrestle to some extent for the National Wrestling Alliance, whether it be in a territory or whatever that looks like. But my second goal is to be the Georgia Championship Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. That belt, if you look on Google, that belt, the title reigns, it has almost, 40, 50 years of a solid lineage of champions. And so to be able to, put Ty Rose on that list with Mr. Wrestling 2, with Dusty Rose, with Harley Race, with everybody else, man, that would just be the icing on the cake. And I feel like it can be done. But yeah, those are my 2 biggest goals, to be the Georgia Championship Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. That's the deal, man. Georgia Championship Wrestling to me means something still, man. And that's my goal is to make that belt mean something a little bit more. I just want to, to give, to Georgia Championship Wrestling and contribute to their history.
That's awesome. But first, we're going to crush Lex Lee, though, right? Hey, Joseph.
I was reading Joseph's comments, but yeah, we're going to crush Lex Lee.
Yeah, number
January the
one.
11th.
Crush Lex Lee. That's what I'm saying.
You got me coming down from an adrenaline rush, man. I've noodle legs now because I was just so amped, man. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that somebody could do this to somebody that you've basically grown up with. You know what I mean? Me and Lex, were we best friends on the playground? No. But we knew each other, and we knew each other. I knew what Paul has done. He knew what my father's done. So we had this mutual respect, and this kind of we can relate to each other because we're professional wrestlers, kids. And if you're a kid of a pro wrestler, you grow up differently. But he's chosen the path that he wants to, so we'll see how it goes January the 11th.
Yes. Crush Lex Lee.
I think River-City-Media might have to be in the house on January.
That's what I'm saying. I'm fired up. I want to be there.
Come on. Yeah, come on.
I think hey, Rocky Shaw shouting out, Joseph Hughes shouting out to Ty. Ty, you couldn't read it, but Joseph Hughes said he predicted a future Mid-American championship and a Tennessee championship for you one day.
That would, I'm gonna show y'all something, and this is funny, but this right here is a replica of the NWA Mid-American Tag Team Championship that my father, at 19 years old, won with Rocky Brewer. You understand? You understand what that means? If anybody's watching Rocky, I know you're watching, so you pay attention. If anybody's watching, I want you to understand, a 19-year-old kid held the NWA Mid-America Heavyweight Championship with Rocky Brewer. You understand? And then he grew up to hold, once with Arn and once with Randy, the NWA Southeastern Tag Team Championship. And then he went overseas to Puerto Rico for the WWC and won the Junior Heavyweight Championship. Right? Tearing it up with Randy Rose and Dothan, Montgomery, everywhere, Birmingham, right? Tearing it up all over Puerto Rico with Super Medico as the White Knight. You understand? So this man, Pat Rose, the one that held this at 19, like I said, is my trainer. And he's the one that tells me, hey, if I'm ready, I'm ready. Just to give you a little insight on who Pat Rose is.
Yeah.
Hey, I think this sums it up. Love the passion, Ty, from Rocky.
Yes.
Ty, go ahead, Howie. I know you got a question to follow up.
Ty, you mentioned being a wrestler's son. You grew up different. How different was it?
Well, my senior year, I went to school, and then I closed out a bar that night. So with my band. So
and I was there more than once. So I don't know if that.
Man, hey, listen. I say that, but the truth is, and if any kids listening, the truth is, man, I come from two amazing parents, man. Truly, I am who I am because of three men in my life: Johnny Smith, my papa John Alexander, and my father Pat Rose. And that's a true story. And I have a wonderful mother. Obviously my mom and my dad ain't together, but that doesn't matter, man. They're two wonderful people. And bottom line, both of them have done and do the best they can for me. And as I'm getting a little bit older and understanding what adulthood looks like, man, I really appreciate that. I just want to get real for a second and just say, man, I truly do come from really, really good people. And I know, like I said, I just I closed down a bar on my band. That's true. That's not a lie. But man, I never fell to any kind of temptation because I was put in a Christian school and a household because of the sacrifice of my parents. So, I feel like they have really helped me. I've been in all kinds of situations, been around all kinds of crazy things, man, but I never gave in and I never caved because those two people right there, my mother and my father, put a strong head on my shoulders. So I just wanted to say that.
And that sounds so cool, Ty. And I drug my 11-year-old daughter into a few you play down the road. So,
That's great.
yeah,
Ty, with I know you want to follow in Pat's footsteps, but I'm sure he has told you several times, don't follow in my footsteps. Create your own.
Right. Yeah, man. I feel like, my father, this is why it's so important for y'all to read this From the Ring to the Real, the Pat Rose story. That's why it's so important for you guys to read this, man. And I know this is my personal copy. He wrote a little message right here, and that's for me and him. But, my father, you could write a book on his life, right? You know what I mean? And I've always said that, and man, it's just there's a lot to learn from the three men I just named, Johnny, my papa, and my dad. Man, there's a lot to learn from each man on what to do, what not to do, maybe what you could have done, whatever, right? But bottom line is, man, yeah, my dad's always been like, man, I'm trying not to cuss, but he said, man, just do your own thing, be humble, be sweet to people, but don't take no shit from nobody. And those are the 3 or 4 things that my dad's told me that I've kept, and I've kind of taken that to heart. So,
Ty, as your career grows, do you feel like you'll be put in places that you have to defend? You're a rookie. That right now that people are going to take cheap shots at you, and just like Lex did, and this might not be the last time you run across somebody taking a cheap shot.
well, that's why, I mean, I don't know. It's going to happen. It's coming, but hey, it's part of it. And, not to sound arrogant or macho, but it's part of it, man. You got to be tougher than the average bear to feel like to do this. And I feel like I am because I'm doing it, So, yeah, just don't say a word and just give it right back to him,
Howie, you've got to ask him about his pre-match traditions. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Chaney. He's got a series of questions he asks everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I kind of wanted him to calm down a little bit after you done pissed him off and got him fired up. But
my dad got this amazing ring light for Christmas, and I would hate to make it go flying over some ridiculousness that is Lex Lee. Okay, so you were close there. You were close, but we're good. Everything's intact, so we're fine.
Look, we gotta bring it down just a little bit. We're gonna
Ty, we're gonna calm you down right here. Here it is, the holiday season. It's Christmas. What's your favorite Christmas present you ever received, man?
I will say, man.
Other than being on here with us.
Yeah.
I will say, man. This year was the first year that I've been in a position where I could get people gifts, and that's the biggest gift that I've ever gotten is to be able to give a little bit of happiness to somebody. You get what I'm saying? Like that.
Yes.
That's the coolest gift, is to see somebody. I don't know, man. It's cool that people enjoy things. I don't know what I'm trying to say, man. But this year, I got amazing gifts, right? But the biggest gift that I got was quality time with my family, and seeing their faces light up when my dad saw that. Man, that's the biggest gift I could have got right there. And that's true. That's true shit right there.
Howie, just interrupt. I think you've got 3 old men nodding their heads yes to everything you said right there.
Yeah, hey, and the meal at the Waffle House. I don't know if y'all seen that or not, but I love Waffle House.
I did. I saw it.
I love Waffle House. So.
Christmas tradition, right?
Absolutely. Every year.
I love it.
So before you go into the ring, do you have anything that you have to do, any type of superstition you got to do before you hit the ring?
I probably say it's going to be great about 1,000 times. Out of a nervous tick, I chew gum so I don't throw up, and I drink water that's pretty much it, man. Just chew gum, drink water, and tell myself it's gonna be all right. And then, hey, when the music hits, okay, you gotta show up, man. Just turn it on.
I love it.
So what music you listen to as you're getting prepared for your match?
A lot of rock, a lot of metal, like ass kicking music, as they say, right? But I've been real big on Whitechapel. They're a metal band. I listen to the Georgia Thunderbolts, man. Those are my homies. Y'all go mess with them, Georgia Thunderbolts. Listen to a lot of Black Oak, Arkansas, stuff like that, man. Just that gritty, just I don't know, man. Makes you wanna put a dip in and go whoop some ass, you know what I mean? So that's the kind of music I listen to. I don't dip, but it makes me want to.
That's it.
All I can hear in my head right now is Jim Dandy to the rescue. That's all I can hear right now.
Oh man, of course, dude.
Hey, just to interrupt Howie for a second. What is the ring music?
Right now it's "Ain't No Love in Oklahoma" by Luke Combs, but kind of getting burnt out of it. So when I'm thinking of plugging my boys, the Georgia Thunderbolts. Man, they got a song called "Stand Up." It's pretty rad, man. So I think we're gonna do that. But man, I don't know. It's the whole thing, man. But right now, yeah, ain't no love in Oklahoma.
Go ahead, Howie.
Awesome. No, you got the last question right there, man. So before we get going, Ty, I appreciate you being on here with us tonight. And you could have been doing a lot of other things, but you took the time out of a holiday season to come and spend it with us, and we appreciate it.
Man, I appreciate you guys, caring enough to hear about what we're doing, and I appreciate y'all being respectful for y'all's, with y'all's questions and the way y'all word things, man. That really means a lot. But yeah, just thank you guys for taking the time, man.
Yeah.
Jeremy, you got anything to close it out?
Well, all I want to say is I appreciate you coming on as well. And you know what? I've never watched Lex Lee wrestle. But I plan on watching him get his butt kicked on the 11th, and I will be happy to do that. And then if that skinny punk Evan Golden's listening, your time's coming, buddy.
Hey, I don't know. Hey,
thanks, Ty. Thanks, Ty.
Hey, thank you guys. Hey, just so we're clear before we get off here, man. January the 11th, AWF Pro Wrestling presents Saturday Night Slam at the Lafayette Recreation Center. Doors are at 6:30. Bell time at 7:30. Man, it's gonna be a fun show. But you can follow me on social media at Ty Rose Wrestling, TYROSC Wrestling on Facebook and Instagram. Man, y'all message us, and if y'all want us to, y'all want to see us anywhere in 2025, man, tag us and tag the promotion, and we'll try to work something out, man. But yeah, Ty Rose Wrestling on Facebook and Instagram, man. January the 11th, y'all be there, Lafayette, Georgia.
Yeah, I got two more questions, and then I'll be done with it. One of them is January 11th going to be your next match?
Yep. Yeah. I'm wrestling this Saturday at McDonald, Tennessee, but January 11th, man, I got my crosshairs aimed on Lex Lee right now. So.
Well, you can't look past your next match to the next one. You got to keep focused. First come, first serve. So who do you have Saturday?
I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll figure that out when I get in there, man. But yeah, I'll. Either way, it's gonna be a fun time.
So with your coming up January 11th against Lex Lee, you give me the number over and under power slams you're gonna be giving Lex Lee.
I don't know, man. You just have to find out. That's why you got to come January the 11th to the Lafayette Recreation Center, and you got to find out.
Go ahead, Randy.
Hey, I'm not going to fire him up anymore. I wouldn't want to be in Lex Lee's seat right now. But I do have to ask you one last question about this. And Lex being a veteran, you being new, when you tie up with him, are you going to be? Will you feel something different tying up with somebody you've known all your life, or is it just going to be the next guy on the other side?
Well, Randy,
Here you go, Randy. Randy done getting them fired up,
come
pissed
on.
off again, man.
If I attacked you, and we tied up, would you think I was just some guy, or would you try to kick my ass?
I'd try to kick your ass.
Exactly. There you go.
So that's what we're going to see on the 11th. There's an ass kicking coming.
So did I just hear that right? Randy's going to whoop Ty's butt?
No,
that's
I don't think that's not what I heard. What I heard is Randy's gonna get his ass kicked.
Hey, Howie, me and you are gonna wrestle, and whoever wins gets to put "the" in front of their name.
I'll submit right now. I'll tap out right now.
I am in. I'm all over that. Yes.
I'm tapping out right now, guys.
That "the" looks pretty misplaced to me. I don't know.
I agree with you, Ty.
I got to comment. Randy's role in January the 11th is to set his butt in the seat and watch the match. That's my role.
Eat popcorn. Yeah, eat popcorn, drink your little drink. Have a good time. It's going to be great.
January 11th. Weekend at in McDonald, Tennessee. Then January the 11th. And then your big debut at Georgia Championship Wrestling is when?
I believe January 21st, if I'm not mistaken. You can find all these dates at Ty Rose Wrestling on Instagram and Facebook, man. Ty,
before we get going, give a shout out to whoever you want to, buddy.
Hey, just want to give a shout out to God, my family, and my dad here, man. Those are my three main deals right there, man. So all love.
Well, I'm gonna give him the shout out. I feel like you're forgetting. Because I'm headed to the Waffle House at the end of this beautiful.
And of course, the lovely ladies at the Waffle House. How could I forget?
Yeah.
Good night. God bless. Be sure to check Ty Rose down the road.